Now that Dollywood has announced NightFlight Expedition, their very new impressive dark ride / coaster, all attention is on the park to see what they have up their sleeve for their next major attraction. You're about to learn why I think a major new roller coaster opening in the center of the park could be coming sooner than you may think. Now I know what you might be thinking, Brandon, they just announced this massive new water / dark ride / coaster, so why are we talking about what's coming next? Well, it's fun to speculate. I mean, this, after all, we're in a great community here of roller coasters and theme parks. So in reality, it's always fun to predict and speculate regardless of when a park announces a new attraction or not. So, before I share with you my predictions on when it's going to open, what type of coaster it's going to be, let's talk about where in the park this location or this ride I think makes the most sense to be located. And really at this point, all signs are pointing to this area because the new area for the NightFlight Expedition, that's a ginormous building behind Big Bear Mountain. I really don't know how much they're going to want to keep on expanding in that direction for future rides. Now, especially because I think the next coaster that the park's going to add will be a thrill coaster, and more on that in a minute. I don't know if they want to have a thrill coaster be part of Wildwood Grove for obvious reasons. Now, this area, again, this is the area that is located right next to the S&S Scream and Swing and the old Mountain Sidewinder plot of land. So, this area is in the center of the park. It gets a lot of traffic around it, but with Barnstormer there, honestly, it doesn't really get much foot traffic anymore now that the park's very unique water ride, Mountain Sidewinder, is no longer there. So by adding this station being located in this area here and having this layout of whatever type of ride it would be located somewhere in this vicinity of the area would make the most sense. You know, Dollywood, while they do have a lot of land, they have to be very careful and strategically plan for expanding, the footprint of the park for new rides and attractions. And why tear down more trees? Why expand the footprint of the park when you have this giant area in the center that could easily get developed into something that really, in my opinion, will not be an eyesore at all for visitors to the park. Now, let's talk about when. So obviously 2026 is the brand new massive investment, the NightFlight Expedition. What's crazy is I heard online today that if you're not following me on X, by the way, and Facebook, be sure to do so. You can find the links in the description of the video here. But they're spending more money on this new 2026 ride in Capital than they did for Dreammore Resort, their massive hotel / resort that opened up 10 years ago. That's crazy. Like, that is absolutely insane. Like, I know prices have gone up, inflation, whatever, but still, that is staggering. So I think obviously they're not going to make a major investment to the park in 27. I could see a water park attraction coming to Splash Country, and let's be honest, it desperately needs something at this point. But 2028 is where I'm circling. I just feel like that's going to be the next big year, and Dollywood's in the middle of a ginormous $500 million expansion plan that includes some of Wildwood Grove as far as Big Bear Mountain and now this attraction. So obviously this ride did not cost near that amount of money, so there's still a lot of money left for future expansions for Dollywood. So with that being said, I think 2028 will be the year. Because think about it, Lightning Rod is the last major thrill coaster added to the park in 2016. And then you have obviously Big Bear Mountain was the last coaster added, if you don't really consider the new one. I do, but I don't in a way, a new major coaster, because the GP won't really know it's a coaster because it's in the giant box of a building. But Big Bear Mountain opened up in 2023. So again, 2028, 5 years after, it would be going 12 years after Lightning Rod opened up. So, with that being said, I think that you have a major chance of a major ride coming. Now, if you're looking for some new merch to wear in the park, then check out themeparkbrandon.com for quality, coaster merchandise for affordable pricing. I really do appreciate all the support, and I absolutely love seeing all of my shirts out in the parks and stuff like that. Thank you so much. And for you being awesome, use this promo code on your screen and save 20% off your entire order. That includes the posters like the ones you see behind me, and I have a bunch more. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, kid stuff, everything. You guys, thank you so much. It really does mean the world to me. Now, let's talk about what type of coaster. The best part of the video. It's tough. There's so many unique rides out there that would just fit this so well for Dollywood, in my opinion. I'm not putting my predictions onto which one as of now. I'm just giving you guys my ideas of the top 5 that I think make the most sense for Dollywood. Once we get closer to, the next 6 months to a year, then I'll do another video really narrowing down my choices here. But these are all major thrill rides that aren't over the top like extreme. Because I don't think Dollywood, obviously they're gearing more towards the families, but there's still a lot of thrill seekers in the families. So I don't think we're going to see some crazy, insane coaster that's going to not fit the demographic that are people that's coming to the park. So with that being said, the first one is coming from Vekoma, because after all, Big Bear Mountain was from Vekoma, and they might have purchased rides in bulk or as far as the package goes. And what about a Vekoma tilt coaster? Now, these are a little bit intense, but they're gracefully intense. These are GP magnets. I would just be very intrigued by the theme that Dollywood could give this style of ride, be located in the center of the park there. I would love it. I think theming wise, this ride makes the most sense as far as what Dollywood likes to do and what Dollywood does best. Siren's Curse is phenomenal. There's no denying that. The one over in Iron Rattler over at Six Flags Qiddiya looks insane, 200 feet tall. I don't think this will be that tall, but I think it'll be in between Sirens and 200 feet tall. So like maybe 170, 180. But having a ride like that featuring airtime inversions, a few tunnels, some really cool theming, onboard audio, like that is legit cool if they could pull that off. Another thing from Vekoma is I don't hear many people talking about this, and that is a Vekoma suspended thrill coaster. Now, we already have Dragon Flyer, a Vekoma suspended coaster, but it's not a thrill coaster. The difference is the thrill coasters have airtime, inversions, insane killer looking layouts, and of course some really good theming opportunities. Having a ride like this feature 5 or 6 inversions, you're hanging below the track, flying through the woods, having a twisted drop on the hill, using the terrain, like, sign me up. I'm all for that. I think that'll be a really cool addition for Dollywood. The next one is a Mock Rides Extreme Spinner. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh, it's probably too extreme for Dollywood. Well, you can say that, but then Silver Dollar City obviously opened Time Traveler up in 2018, and it's arguably the most popular ride at Silver Dollar City, and rightfully so. It's legit good. Now, we all know that Mock Rides and Hersian love working with each other. This new attraction coming in 2025 is a Mock Rides, coaster, the Rocking Boat style attraction. So maybe they signed a joint package to add the next coaster. And with that being said, a Mock Rides Extreme Spinner that launches you would just be really cool in the center of the park. There's a lot of cool things Dollywood could do with that regarding the terrain and this location of the park. So, and I like about that too is this ride doesn't have to be very tall if it's an extreme spinner, which might please some people. Instead of seeing a 170 foot tall, Vekoma tilt coaster in the center of the park, you have something that you don't really see above the trees. I personally want something taller, but that's just me. Now the next one's a B&M dive coaster. I don't really like B&M as of late for obvious reasons. The rattles, the layouts are kind of eh. But a dive coaster makes a lot of sense here. High capacity, reliable, the GP love it. And I really like the idea of just being up on top of the lift hill and just chilling up there and seeing all the mountains around you. There's a lot of cool things Dollywood could do with that. They can also upsell their tours to go up on top of the lift hill before the park opens up. There's a lot of extra revenue options this way. And there's no dive coaster within the, 4 or 5 hour radius of that place. So I think that'll be really cool for Dollywood, a great avenue to go if they wanted to. We know they have the money, we know they have the room. Will they want to go that? I don't know. There's a rumor out there that Dollywood doesn't really like working with B&M at the moment. I don't know how true that is. But we also have one of my favorite style of rides is a hypercoaster. Maybe from B&M, maybe from Mock Rides. Regardless, Dollywood can really benefit from a lot of graceful airtime. Now, it will not be, I don't think it's going to be the airtime ejector galore. I think they're going to want to make sure that GP enjoy this as much as coaster enthusiasts do. Therefore, you know, Mock Rides B&M instead of an Intamin. But having a hypercoaster in this location will be very tough. You'd have to have a twisted hypercoaster, like a 90-degree twisted first drop or a curving, swooping first drop. You know, they'd have to be very unique here, but I'm all for that. There's another major rumor out there that before Big Bear Mountain, that was supposed to be a B&M hypercoaster. I don't know how true that is. That's pretty cool if it is. But so we know there is talks out there about what they want to add. But something from Mock Rides or B&M or even Vekoma for their next coaster. Those are the three manufacturers that make the most sense. I really like the hypercoaster idea. But then I really like the tilt coaster. And I really like the suspended thrill coaster. You know, so many great ideas here. You know, it's going to be hard to really pinpoint which one. I just know I love Dollywood, and I'm super excited to go out there and experience this new attraction and watch the progress of one of my favorite parks grow each and every year. Now, if you're planning a trip to Dollywood, all I want is for you to have the best time possible. Therefore, check out my Dollywood Ultimate Guide at the bottom of your screen. Trust me, watch it before you visit. With that being said, what's your thoughts and predictions for Dollywood's next coaster? What do you think about mine? You know what to do. Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.